The rain had finally stopped, and the warm sunlight painted the streets with a golden glow. But inside a small roadside diner, something extraordinary was about to happen. A tired man in worn-out clothes quietly stepped inside, looking exhausted, hungry, and completely invisible to everyone around him. The customers looked away. The waitress hesitated. A businessman sitting near the window whispered that people like him only brought trouble. Then, just as everyone expected him to be turned away, a young woman carrying only enough money for one simple meal made a decision that would change both of their lives forever. Before we begin, if you believe that kindness can change lives and everyone deserves a second chance, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Enlightened Story. Your support helps us continue sharing stories that inspire hope and compassion. No one inside the diner knew that the tired man was actually Nathan Reid, the 39-year-old founder and CEO of one of the country's fastest-growing technology companies. After years of success, awards, and luxurious living, Nathan had become troubled by a simple question that refused to leave his mind. He wondered if people still recognized humanity beyond appearances. His executives constantly presented reports about poverty, employee welfare, and customer satisfaction, yet everything came from numbers and unpolished presentations. He wanted to experience life without privilege, even if only for a single day. He left his expensive car miles away, dressed himself in old clothes, removed every sign of wealth, and walked through the city with only a few dollars hidden away for emergencies, determined not to use them unless absolutely necessary. By late afternoon, the experiment had become far more painful than he had imagined. Shop owners ignored him. Security guards watched him suspiciously. People avoided eye contact, as if poverty were contagious. He had not eaten since sunrise, and the long walk beneath the summer sun left him weak and dehydrated. When he finally entered the small family diner, he hoped only for a glass of water and perhaps a place to rest for a few minutes. The silence inside the restaurant became uncomfortable. Some customers frowned. Others quietly moved their bags closer. The waitress looked apologetic but uncertain, because several guests were already complaining under their breath. Nathan lowered his eyes, feeling something he had never experienced despite years of business challenges. He felt invisible. Across the room sat Evelyn Marsh, a 33-year-old small business owner whose tired eyes revealed months of strain. Her clothes were neat but simple, and exhaustion rested heavily on her face. Life had tested her relentlessly ever since her marketing startup began losing clients the year before. Every sunrise had begun with the same purpose: fighting to keep her small company alive for the sake of the 5 employees who depended on her. That morning, Evelyn had received disappointing news. Her biggest client had just canceled their contract, leaving her with barely enough money to cover rent, let alone payroll. The little cash inside her wallet represented nearly everything she had left until she could figure out her next move. She had entered the diner planning to buy one bowl of soup and a few slices of bread, quietly aware it might be her last proper meal before difficult decisions had to be made. As she watched the exhausted man standing alone, memories flooded back to her. Years earlier, when her startup was only weeks old and she couldn't afford supplies, a complete stranger had quietly covered her printing costs without asking for anything in return. That act of kindness had carried her through one of the most uncertain days of her life. Without hesitation, Evelyn stood up. She carried her tray toward Nathan and gently placed it on the empty table beside him. The steaming bowl of tomato soup filled the air with comforting warmth. Fresh bread rested beside it, still soft from the oven. It was everything she had planned to eat that evening. She simply smiled with tired but sincere eyes and walked away before he could refuse. Nathan stared at the meal in disbelief. He could tell from the quiet weariness in her posture that she was struggling herself. He watched her quietly return to her seat with only a paper cup of free water. Instead of looking disappointed, she looked peaceful. For the first time in many years, Nathan found himself fighting back tears. He slowly ate the soup, every spoonful reminding him that genuine generosity never depended on wealth, came from the heart. As he finished eating, he noticed Evelyn pulling a small folded flyer from her bag, a mock-up for her company's very first campaign, the one that had once filled her with so much hope. Her eyes softened as she looked at it before carefully tucking it away. Curiosity led Nathan to speak with the waitress after Evelyn left. He learned about the hardworking woman who never missed a day of work, even when things looked hopeless. The waitress explained that Evelyn often skipped her own lunch so she could keep paying her small team on time. Despite her hardships, she frequently helped other small business owners in the neighborhood, sharing advice and referrals without ever asking for anything back. The waitress quietly admitted something that broke Nathan's heart even more. Evelyn still owed money for a few previous meals because she insisted on covering breakfast for an elderly regular every Friday morning who could barely afford it himself. Nathan walked outside just in time to see Evelyn begin the long walk back to her office beneath the warm afternoon sky. He returned to his own headquarters before sunset without revealing his identity to anyone. That night, he barely slept. Every board meeting, every expensive conference, every business award suddenly felt insignificant compared to a simple bowl of soup shared by a woman who had almost nothing left to give. The following Monday, Evelyn received an unexpected letter inviting her to the headquarters of Reid Technologies. Believing it was some kind of mistake, she wore her best blazer before attending the appointment. Inside the elegant conference room, she froze. Standing before her in a tailored suit was the same tired man she had fed only days earlier. He thanked her not as a CEO, but as a human being whose faith in kindness had been restored. Nathan explained everything about his experiment and confessed that no financial report had ever taught him as much as those few hours spent living as an ordinary person. Instead of simply repaying Evelyn with money, he wanted to transform her future. He offered her small company a full partnership with Reid Technologies, along with a leadership role overseeing community outreach and small business support programs funded by his company. Her years of honesty, resourcefulness, and compassion made her exactly the kind of leader he wanted representing his brand. The partnership came with resources more than 3 times what her struggling startup had ever generated on its own. Her employees' jobs were secured, with full benefits for the first time. The company also provided funding to help other small, struggling businesses in the community get back on their feet. Evelyn stood speechless, unable to believe that one selfless act had opened doors she never imagined possible. Months passed, and the partnership flourished. Under Evelyn's guidance, Reid Technologies launched programs supporting struggling entrepreneurs, small business grants, free mentorship initiatives, and emergency meal centers across several cities. Instead of measuring success only through profits, Nathan began measuring it through lives changed. Employees noticed the difference immediately. Company culture became warmer, volunteer participation increased dramatically, and customer trust reached record levels. One sunny afternoon, Nathan attended the grand opening of a new community center named the Marsh Hope Center. Children laughed across the playground while families received free meals, job counseling, and educational resources. Standing nearby, Nathan's young daughter, Lily, proudly handed Evelyn a handmade drawing showing 2 strangers sharing a bowl of soup beneath a bright yellow sun. At the bottom, she had written, "Kindness always comes back home." Evelyn carefully framed that picture inside her office, placing it where every visiting partner could see it before entering meetings. Whenever difficult decisions arose, she looked at that simple drawing and remembered the lesson a tired stranger had taught her without expecting anything in return. Success, she realized, was never measured by the size of a company or the number of zeros in a bank account. True success was measured by the number of hearts willing to share, even when they had almost nothing left. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Enlightened Story to spread love daily. Your support helps these stories of kindness reach people who may need hope today. As a special request, comment below with one word, kindness, if you believe that even the smallest act of compassion can completely change someone's life. As the sun slowly set behind the community center, children continued laughing while families gathered around shared tables filled with warm meals. Nathan smiled quietly, knowing that his greatest business investment had never been in technology or buildings, but in believing that one compassionate heart could inspire thousands more. And somewhere in that joyful crowd, a father and his daughter reminded everyone that the richest people are not those who own the most, but those who are willing to give even when they have the least. Sometimes the most valuable meal in the world is not the one that fills your stomach. It is the one that restores your faith in humanity.